Okay, my name is Janne Artell. I'm here from MTT Agrifood Research Finland, which is a long name you will not have to remember long because we are going to a natural resource pretty soon. I'm here to talk about the economics of improving water quality. Now, water quality does, in fact, affect fishing, as you should know. What I do for my work is mostly policy support in terms of research. I haven't taught fishing especially, but it's always in there. Recreational fishing, as we are talking. I would love big data. I would love accurate big data, as would every researcher, and I will show you some cases which could be then used for application of big data. Because right now we really rely on ourselves doing surveys, which again are not perfect. So I have to talk about values. Sorry, I have to set the table straight as well. On values, in terms of economics, well, the costs are pretty easy in terms of policy. You do a policy measure, it costs euros, yens, dollars, whatnot. What are the benefits? We talked about recreational fisheries. What's the benefit of having bigger fish in Baltic Sea? Well, who knows? Commercial fishers might know in terms of euros. But we don't know in terms of euros what the value is. Also, what policymakers do, they look at things with measurements. They talk about total phosphorus, total nitrogen, whatever. Who cares? We care about the fish, right? That's the perception of people. So we want to put a value on that perception. Okay? Things that people report on the applications. That's what they do. Big fish has a value on it. So can we put a price tag on that? We'll try. Not just the big fish though. We want to do that for pretty much everything because in terms of policy we also care about the little fish. Total economic value is just a matter of things that we talk about. We can put things on money terms. Think about use values. Direct, extractive, fishing. You take fish out of the water, it's a use value, and that's it. We also have non-use values. Things that you think about. Well, I mean, I'm happy that there's whales. I've never been whaling, I never will be. But it has a value for me. Even that can have monetary value, right? So when we talk about use values of fishing, it's not the whole value of recreational fishing. Some people can just have value for example, you go fishing. Okay, so we have to take that into account when we talk about policy issues. So, I'll show you 3 cases, really quick. There's 2 in Finland and 1 that's international. 2 of them are strictly use values, which is related to water recreation as a whole, including fishing, boating, swimming. And then there's 1 that is more general in terms of the values that it takes into account. So the first one is about daily water recreation in Finland. Okay? About 87% of water recreation, all of it, is one-day trips only. That includes a lot of fishing. Half of Finns, this is in year 2000, it has dropped slightly in the past 10 years, but about half of Finns participate in fishing each year. That's the similar amount of people who go to boating. 3 out of 4 people go swimming, and that's the second most popular form of nature recreation from walking. So fishing is really, really, really popular. Well, you guys should know that, right? There's quite a few people who fish. So we wanted to see, would water quality affect fishing, well, the amount of fishing that people do? Because that's something that our policymakers were interested in. Well, because the world's not perfect, we didn't know where people would be exactly, so we had to use old data sources. But what we would do, we would look at a local scale whether water quality in terms of water clarity And some people would say that, well, all fish like clear waters, but we just had to look for an indicator that would work on this. And if clear waters would affect fishing activity, then that would be very interesting. It turns out to be. And then we would then assess the value of a single water recreation. Now, putting these two things together, we can assess the value of better water quality. Yay, we got lines. Don't look at the numbers. What you can see that for swimming and fishing, we can see that local water clarity would increase the amount of the days that people actually spent in Finland on average. That's good news, right? People care about water quality. Now the value for 1 day of going boating, fishing, or swimming would be around €6. I say around, these are not exact numbers, they're to the percent. But never think about valuation as exact numbers. These are self-reporting costs, people forget. They just say, well, it's about €5, €10, 15. Then we use their distance-based costs, which is around €19, so that's going by car, whenever they use car. So, putting these numbers such that if we would have a huge effect of 1 meter of water clarity in the whole country, we would get, in terms of increased visits to water recreation sites, we'll get from 30 to 90 million euros for swimmers and for fishers. We would get actually larger effects of people who had not fished before. They would probably go fishing. So we would have new people fishing. And those who fished before will probably go fishing more. Now, it's a proxy. We don't know how water clarity exactly affects fish, but it's a good sign. Well, going to another part. We got people who don't like to travel. They just buy their summer house close to the water, right? Makes sense. So those people were not showing those values in the previous study. So what can we do? Well, we compare sales of summer houses and the adjacent water quality, right? Simple. Well, again, data issue. We could only use unbuilt summer house lots because you have some idea of the unbuilt lots. Because people can have slightly different summer houses. You probably know from your friends, some of them have electricity, some of them have, jacuzzi. Some of them have nothing. So we use unbuilt summer house lots. And we just compare things in a statistical way. Yay. Again, we can see that water quality does affect summer house price lots directly. When you go to the very poor side, I've marked it as uncertain because we don't have that many people buying summer house lots for poor places. Why is that? So only because it doesn't make any sense to buy summer houses in bad places. But they really do have price effects. Now again, summer house owners fish a lot. Around 80% of them fish. So this has an effect on the fishing values also. That's something that we can probably look for using an app, maybe. Then we go to the Baltic Sea part. This is already larger. Now we're talking about eutrophication, but it has an effect on, for example, cod fishing, right? So what we did in this case was to predict the Helcomb's Baltic Sea Action Plan, which is hopefully many of you are familiar with. I don't have time to explain it. I can do it later. So we had projections from today until year 2050. Now it's supposed to happen earlier, the Baltic Sea Action Plan, but the marine models, they pretty much say that if we want to do it with any kind of reasonable costs, it will go to year 2050. So what you have a baseline, which is where you basically do nothing. Then you have half, it's an scenario where you do half the measures required for the Baltic Sea action plan, and then you do the Baltic Sea action plan. So when it's green and blue, it's pretty good in terms of beautification. We asked people, including fish species, these colors would depict also fish species and the amount of game fish. How much would they be willing to pay to see that happen yearly and ad infinitum, so forever? Well, they would. And this is a survey done in all of the Baltic Sea countries. In all countries, even in Russia, at least half of the people were willing to pay. And they were willing to pay enough to overcome the costs of the Baltic Sea action. A lot of them. And you see the cost coming down from the side, the benefits going up there. And that's one over there. Does mean that full application of the Baltic Sea action plan. So what it means is that even if we miscalculate the benefits, there's still plenty of room for error and see that water quality actually pays. And that's improving fish. What you see on the right-hand side is that, well, the game's not fair. So when you do the things on the international scale, you see that Sweden is on the winning side, Lithuania and Latvia really on the losing side. Finland's doing all right. Estonia is also losing a bit. So it's rise to the left, to the right, and the benefits rise to the top. So basically, that's the reason that there's been problems in negotiation. But the thing is, now we can show the benefits and see how to do these things. Yeah, which brings me to the last slide. Thanks for the attention, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them after